Howdy. Welcome back to Dion Talk. You would think that since one of the main reasons that I reached financial freedom is because I'm super lazy and I wanted to make work optional, that you would expect me to do it as passively as possible. Another reason why I reached financial freedom and I'm trying to help you do the same thing is because I think the world is a better place when people have jobs that they want instead of jobs they have to do for the money. With that in mind, why do you think I still self-manage my rental properties? Using a property manager would align a lot better with the lazy. Here is the Cliff Notes version of the chronology of how I went from a lot of bad debt, not making a lot of money, single parent with 3 kids, to financially free in about 8 years. First, I moved out of this house into an apartment and rented the house out. Since I had a bad debt to income ratio and I wasn't making a lot of money, this allowed me to get rental income on my tax returns, which helped me with my debt to income ratio. Second, I house hacked this duplex. It took me another couple of years to save up the next down payment, but then I purchased this duplex. With the added cash flow, the time it took to buy the next duplex was less than 2 years. At this point, my goal was to stay at 4 mortgages. So instead of adding another property, I focused and paid off this single family house. This helped my cash flow and brought me to the first stage of financial freedom. Next, I house hacked this 4-plex. And someday I'm going to make a video on the power of the second house hack. But not today. Today, I'm going to stay focused on why I still self-manage. After this 4-plex, I purchased this triplex. It's actually a duplex with a ADU that is a house, or it's a house with an ADU that is a duplex. I'm not sure which came first. It's kind of a chicken or egg thing. After this triplex, I added my most recent purchase, which was this duplex. This took me up to sweet 16 numbers of rental units. Do you see how the rental units are starting to add up over time? This is in less than 10 years of investing. With this many rental units, and being as lazy as I am, it seems like it would really make sense to hire a property manager. And the monthly fee is not actually why I don't. And in my content, I try to be as transparent as possible. So here's the numbers. It takes me about $30,000 a year to live. I still house hack, so I don't have any housing costs. $30,000 a year is plenty for me. It's way more than I actually need. I recently took almost a month vacation with my 2 brothers, drove across the country. We pretty much did everything. Took helicopter rides, took a boat to an island to go to breakfast in Florida. It really just enjoyed ourselves. The hotels were hit and miss. Some were pretty nice. Some, I think we should have kept a fire watch. But when I came home from that trip, doing pretty much everything I wanted to do across the country, I came home to more money than I left with. That's the power of financial freedom. So making that much money, rental profit from my rental units, which is about $103,000 a year right now, over 3 times what it takes me to live, I definitely have the bandwidth to handle the monthly expense of having a property manager, which would help the lazy. And one thing to note about property managers when you're talking about that monthly expense is when you first start out and you only have a few rental properties, you're probably going to be paying around 10% for that monthly fee of gross rents, not of your profit, of what you're actually collecting in rents. As your number of properties scale, that percentage usually drops because you have more negotiating power for the property manager. And with the number of units that I have property management companies reaching out offering me 6% as that monthly fee. But like I said earlier, that monthly fee is not the problem. Here are the issues I have, and one of the reasons why I might always self-manage. The first reason is probably something I can overcome. But if you're familiar with my content at all, you know one of the main reasons that I made a YouTube channel and I got invited on the BiggerPockets real estate show is because of my binder method. This is a concept that gets tenants to request a rent increase, request longer leases, and leave the meeting happy. Like they had a voice in a conversation most tenants are never even involved in. That was my goal, to get that information out there. As a skill set that I've developed using this method, I don't know that property management companies would even be open to the idea. So one of the main reasons I still self-manage is because I can use the binder method without having to teach it to a property management company and then expect them to do it right. This kind of lines up with one of the things that I see often in the forums when other people are talking about why they self-manage. A property management company is never going to treat your properties as well as you would because they're not theirs, they're yours. The second problem with property management is also one I could probably overcome: the markup fee. When there is a tenant request for a repair or a maintenance item that needs to be handled, the property management companies, some of them, will add a percentage to that charge. Their income for having to coordinate the repair or purchase the materials for the maintenance. And I understand you're running a business. You need to collect that monthly fee from gross rents because you are available to handle tenant issues. And the property manager needs to charge an upcharge because they are using their time to coordinate that work. But those are just the first two steps. It's the third issue with property management companies that is my deal breaker, and the one that I don't think I'll ever be able to get over. As a property owner, tenant turnover is expensive and mentally draining. That time period where you're not collecting rent between when a tenant left and when a new one is placed, and the amount of money and time and resources spent to do a normal tenant turnover can be somewhere between $2,000 and $7,000. So as an owner, I want to limit tenant turnover as much as possible. I even have strategies and have designed my portfolio around having the smallest number of tenant turnovers possible. In the last 10 years, I've only had 2. One tenant inherited a house. I understand why she moved. Another tenant went to the hospital and passed away, and the spouse went to assisted living. So that's my 2 tenant turnovers. So it's my goal to have as close to 0 as possible. But on the flip side, most property management companies charge a fee somewhere between 50% or 100% of a full month's gross rents. So their motivation to make money as a part of their business model is to have tenant turnover. And usually when I bring up this aspect of a property management company making money based on tenant turnover, somebody chimes in the comments below and says, I own or I work at a property management company and we don't like tenant turnover either. But I'm not confident that since a company makes money based on a service that they provide, that they're not going to be motivated to not want tenant turnover as much as I am. So if and when I ever do hire a property management company, they will charge me a monthly fee. They will charge me an upcharge fee. They will not have a business model designed around charging for placing or screening tenants. That way, I know that that property management company is close to as motivated as I am to not have tenant turnover. And I do have this video here, which shows how I self-manage my rental properties while being a single parent and working full-time. So if in the future I ever decide to get a property management company, it's going to be because my lazy kicks in so strong that I don't even want to be able to handle the about 2 hours a month it takes to manage 16 properties. Or 7 properties with 16 units. Until my next video, thanks for coming to my Dion Talk.
We're sorry, the number you have dialed is not in service at this time.